am I the asshole for telling my brother that he has no idea what he's talking about because he isn't a parent?
I would say that's fair. I think if I was trying to give parenting advice and a parent told me, actually shut the fuck up, I'd be like, you know what? You're probably right. You're probably
happens to us all the time, actually.
Yeah, I'll take your word for it. Actually,
they do be telling us to shut the fuck up when it comes to parenting advice.
Oh, do they?
Well, not shut the fuck up, but they're just sometimes we are off, or
oh yeah.
I don't know.
I mean, I can't imagine how wrong we are on some of these.
But although we always preface it, we're not parents, guys.
Yeah,
but if
we
we
do
were,
do a good job of that.
Parenting is also a wide spectrum. You know what I mean? Like there's different.
Everyone parents
There's
differently.
no
Yes, exactly.
one correct way to parent.
No.
Many correct ways to parent. There's definitely some wrong ways to parent.
Facts.
100%.
Definitely some wrong ways.
Like letting your fucking daughter get married at 17 years old. That's wrong.
Or get married to a guy.
35-year-old or whatever the fuck.
Jeebus.
All right. So I, 26 male, have 3 kids under 5. 4 female, and 2 male.
Twins.
With a 4th kid on the way.
Sheesh, you've been busy.
Before we had kids, my wife and I had a lot of ideas about the parents we were going to be, and we had a lot of scorn for people who parented in ways we disagreed with. But as any parent knows, actually raising kids is hard work, and you will have to break your values. My brother, 22 male, is doing a psychology degree with a few modules on child psychology and child development. He regularly tells me he thinks iPad kids are spoiled brats who will struggle developmentally, and they are the spawn of lazy, negligent parents.
Hey, yo, chill with your psych degree, buddy.
I wouldn't say my kids are iPad kids, but they do have an iPad between the 3 of them and more screen time than I would ideally like, but sometimes them's the breaks.
Yeah.
My brother also disapproves of the fact that we give our kids sweets as bribes, which we do on occasion, and have lied to our kids. I would say like white lies, I think, are pretty normal. You know what I mean?
I mean,
I heard
Santa.
it a bunch. Yeah.
Santa's a great example, yeah.
What?
Don't worry about it.
I'm scared.
Spoiler alert for all listeners.
Do we have any kids listen? I hope not.
I hope not. Please
sure
don't.
hope not.
I've said
Kids,
too
you
many
heard the
dick jokes in
coconut
the past.
Oh, shit. Yeah, the coconut. Every time he tells me his views on parenting, I just laugh and tell him to try being a parent, then I'll take his advice. Recently, due to an emergency, my wife and I needed a babysitter for a whole day, so I called my brother because despite his judgment, he's actually very good with our kids. When we got home in the evening, the kids were in bed having had dinner, and we thanked him profusely. He very earnestly told us that now he had experienced being a parent.
No.
He realized that not letting your kids use screens was very easy, and they hadn't watched TV or used their iPad in the 12 hours they'd been there. He also said he'd calmed their fears. They were aware of the emergency and scared a little bit. He read to them, not had to bribe them to do anything with sweets, and he dealt with them very calmly. He dealt with very calm, relaxed children, as opposed to the brats they normally are when they're with me. His words.
Respectfully, shut your bitch ass up.
He gave us a 20-minute lecture about our bad parenting, and now that he was in a position to give advice, he was going to give it. We'd been planning on giving him £200 to thank him for doing this on such short notice and looking after the kids for so long, but we sent him on his way without pay. The next day, I called him to tell him I thought his behavior was incredibly inappropriate, that I appreciated him looking after the kids, but it was better he didn't see them for a while, and that he springing that all on us, especially after a day of stress, shows how immature he really was. I told him that he actually didn't know anything about parenting because he wasn't a parent. I conceded that I may have gone too far, but my mom called me up later to tell me that my brother was crying, and she called me a dickhead because he was just trying to help, and apparently I'm a bad parent for dealing with people's kindness so rudely.
And he wasn't being a dickhead?
My brother and parents are pissed off at me, and they're not talking to me, so am I the asshole?
No. Hell no.
No.
Are you kidding me?
He watched him for 12 hours.
Yeah, how pretentious is this fucking prick?
I think I know everything about parenting now.
Golly.
No, brother. Not at all, man. When we give bad advice, at least we know, like, there's a good chance that this is bad advice in regards to parenting. Because
John, he has a psychology degree, all right? Leave him alone.
So what?
I will say.
What?
So I do agree. I think the brother was being a dick, like doubling down, and like because he's like 12 hours does not make you a parent. I've babysitted for 12 hours. It's not, it's way different.
Stop. The kids treat an aunt and uncle different than they treat their parents.
Yes,
like the parents will tell them the exact same thing, and they'll be like, "Fuck you," and then an aunt or uncle will do it, and they'll be like, "Oh yeah, for sure. Why? Of course I would do that."
Yeah.
So it's like, okay, dude, like it's not. You're not in the same position. You're not a parent, and that's just a fact.
Right. I will say it sounds like OP and his wife did the exact same thing when they were his age, though. You know what I mean? They're like, we scorned a lot of parents for how they parented too. It's like, yeah, I mean, this sounds like comeuppance for what you were doing.
Yeah.
Not saying that they deserve it, but I'm just like, yeah, what goes around comes around. You know
your brother's your karma, I guess.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, but were they silent about it? I forget.
It doesn't say. It just says we had a lot of scorn for people who parented in ways we disagreed with. So take that as you will.
Yeah. If they were silent about it, I think everybody silently judges. I mean,
yeah.
What can you do?
We do that for a living. Are you kidding me?
Very loudly.
Except not very silent. We're very loud about it.
So it's like, I think that's fine. But if they're like what your brother did, what OP's brother did, then that's not okay, obviously.
Yeah.
Yeah. I would have been more okay with the brother giving those sort of advice if he had approached it much more kindly and much more empathetic. And like what Sean was saying, like the parents are in the trenches like every day taking care of those kids. The brother only got to experience it for like a 12-hour shift. Of course, it's not going to be the same experience. So what I meant by like, had the reception been a little bit better, he could have been like, hey, I've read in my studies, during my coursework that if they do certain things like this, it could end up to this. How did he presented it more with maybe like more data and just instead of saying like, no, you're a terrible parent for doing this. I feel like the brother probably in, his stage of life probably has the maturity to be like, okay, maybe we can take those, advice to heart and maybe we can implement them next time. Coming up with a strategy together, like more of a collaborative instead of saying, you bad parent, you give them iPad, you give them sweets, you're a fucking failure of a parent. So I completely am with OP here. I feel like the brother needs to get a reality check and saying like, hey, you can't parent others people kids and you can't also like belittle the experiences that your brother's facing because you took care of them for 12 fucking hours.
Also, is OP the older sibling? Did they say?
Sounds like it, yeah.
That makes sense. That makes a lot of sense. That the parents were like, how could you make our little baby boy cry? Like, that's so, yeah.
That would be your parents?
It tracks. That would be my parents. I am the baby boy, little prince.
Yeah, I agree with you guys. Like I said, I think it's funny that it's like, feels like karma from the past, judgments.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. Like, yeah, I agree with you guys. I think the brother, if he truly wanted to give constructive advice, I think that's fine. I think timing is always the key. Like, not after an emergency. You know what I mean?
Like just 20 minutes is crazy.
And the whole pretentious thing about it, look how easy I did this. Bitch, the way I would backhand the fuck out of you if you said that shit to me.
As soon as you said they weren't the brats that they usually are with you, I'd be like, oh, fuck.
Yeah, I agree. I don't love how OP is like, if you don't have a parent, you can't, like, you don't have any say. It's kind of wild. Like, I think, if the brother came at this from like a more meaningful concern, because there can be meaningful input to have, like, hey, I've been studying this, maybe try this with your kids going forward, like more constructive ways to give the advice. That's cool.
Which is the exact definition of what a constructive feedback should be.
Yes, exactly. So yes, I agree with you guys. I think personally, I don't think asshole potentially low level sucks for not even paying him, but I guess that's fair.
Hell nah. Beat your brother's ass while you're
if somebody said my kids were brats,
never beat the shit out of them, bro. Are you fucking kidding me?
That's fair.
200 pounds to the face. Fuck you mean?
Maybe they are brats though. We say fuck them kids a lot, guys.
And it's true.
But anyway, Reddit deemed asshole. Yeah.
Really?
Reddit is not on our side on this one. So I'm very curious to hear what comments think.
Okay.
In our comments, Kokis said Psych Brother is a bit of an ass with his opinion, but there's also the saying that you don't have to be a helicopter pilot to know something is wrong when you see a helicopter stuck in a tree. However, OP is a fucking douchebag for not being thankful to his brother for watching his kids, then goes so far to say that he's not going to be allowed to look after them in the future.
So he can get berated again?
Look,
I think that comment is kind of...
anybody
I'm not
calls
siding with that comment.
my kids' names, they're the op.
No, they're OPP, Sean.
Yes,
Get it right.
Sean, come on. Fuck.
No, I refuse to do the OPP.
You fucking ass.
To which Solid Ashford said, I think this is two strong-willed people who have been asses to each other their whole lives. I go with everyone sucks because brother did have an effective way of watching the kids that differed from his brother's. Yet, while 12 hours doesn't make him an expert on parenting, OP is an ass for thinking people who don't have kids shouldn't be able to talk about parenting. Hell, even being a parent doesn't make one an expert, and they're in the thick of it. Which I think is more fair of an assessment. I still think, I think if the brother was truly trying to be constructive, he would have tried to be constructive in a way better way.
Too small for it to be constructive.
Yes.
Keep him for 2.5 weeks. See what happens. Maybe you'll change your stance a little bit, brother.
Well, not even that, but like not even coming up with like solutions to help the brother like implement them into their daily lives that fit with their schedule. Like 3 kids with a 4th one on the way. You're very busy parents. I mean that it is your choice to have that many.
I was gonna say, so if you keep procreating, you can't fucking pay attention to them as much as you should. So maybe you need to get a little, protected down there.
Get therapy.